Netflix just released the official trailer of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's even more mind-blowing than we could ever imagine. That's why, in this video, we will be diving deep into this trailer and breaking down every scene of said trailer in order to help you understand why this is so big for the future of the live-action adaptation of the beloved Emmy Award-winning American animated television series. Is this the redemption that we were all hoping for? Let's find out. We start this trailer with a shot of the Fire Nation fleet, and we hear a voice-over of Monk Gyatso. For those of you that aren't familiar with the original animated series, Monk Gyatso was Avatar Aang's guardian, mentor, and father figure before the beginning of the 100-Year War, as well as a member of the Council of Elders, which we will hopefully see more of when the series premieres. He was known for his kindness and sense of humor. The narration begins with Gyatso saying that the Fire Nation has embarked on a dark path and that the world might never recover. As these last words are said, we see a glimpse at Appa, Aang's flying bison, and a burnt forest, which fans can easily identify as the burnt forest from episode 7 of the animated series. We continue by seeing images of the attack of the Fire Nation on the Southern Air Temple, with the narration of Monk Gyatso saying that the world needs the Avatar. This particular scene is a very peculiar one, because in the original animated series, this scene is never shown. Executive producer and showrunner Albert Kim did mention in interviews that one of the reasons for doing the live-action adaptation is to fill in the gaps, as he described it. We can clearly see that this is one of those gaps that he mentioned, since this attack is what changed everything. This is the attack that started the 100-Year War, and that will be kicking things off in this amazing journey. I believe this scene of a high-rank Fire Nation soldier attacking is also part of this Fire Nation attack on the Southern Air Temple. And I'm taking a huge leap by saying that I believe this is Monk Gyatso that is being attacked. The trailer continues with Gyatso's narration saying, "It needs you, Aang," and then we see images of Katara and Sokka discovering Aang in the iceberg. A scene that fans will vividly remember, as this scene is iconic from the original series. From the very first episode, in fact, which is entitled The Boy in the Iceberg. We can clearly see that this scene has important details, like the beam of light shooting into the sky, the reactions of both Katara and Sokka to this event, which is very well interpreted and really close to those of the animated series, and when Aang is at the edge of the shattered iceberg with his arrow glowing. Images that every die-hard fan can agree that are really important, and something that does let us know that the showrunners are really paying attention to detail when it comes to the recreation of iconic moments from the series itself. Next, we see Fire Lord Ozai in what seems like a meeting. If I were to guess what scene specifically this is, it may be the infamous scene in episode 12 entitled The Storm. In this scene, Prince Zuko speaks out in order to try and change the plans to sacrifice a division full of recruits so the Fire Nation can do a sneak attack on the Earth Kingdom. Of course, Zuko's actions had dire consequences, but we will get to this later. We also see some images of Princess Azula practicing archery as the voiceover changes to Katara, whom says, "The Fire Nation has destroyed everything in their path." And we get a look at the ostrich horses, one of many hybrid creatures from the original series. Following this, we see how Aang, Katara, and Sokka visit the Southern Air Temple 100 years after the Fire Nation's attack. This is when the shock of the war really hits Aang, since he is seeing what's become of his home. The shock isn't just because it's his home and it's now gone, but because he is seeing for the casualties as a consequence of him running away from his duties as the Avatar, which from here on out is a huge weight that he carries throughout the rest of the series. We then see images of Katara having a conversation with Sokka, where she tells him that if the world is going to have any chance, it's going to need Aang. The next images show us what Kyoshi Island looks like in this adaptation. We also see Aang doing his air scooter technique, which is a technique that he invented by creating a spherical ball of air that can be ridden by balancing on it like a top. Not only that, but he also crashes into a statue, which is a reference to the original series intro. This is also really important because despite everything, Aang is just a goofy kid, and with scenes like this it shows that the creators paid attention to important character traits, not only with Aang, but also on other characters like Sokka, who says, "Right, there goes the savior of the world." Right after Aang crashes into the statue, which is an important character trait for him as he is often the comic relief of the group with his sarcasm and humor. The trailer continues with images of Uncle Iroh in Zuko's quarters, and we hear Zuko saying, "I've chased down every hint of the Avatar," and he then says, "It's my destiny." While this happens, we see how Zuko is obsessed with finding the Avatar. We see that he has a wall with hints related to the Avatar, and we also get to see Uncle Iroh in action. In these next images, we see something really important related to Zuko. We see his father, Fire Lord Ozai, getting ready for a duel. We even get to see him attacking someone, this being Zuko, of course. And this duel is the consequence that was mentioned earlier in this video, due to Zuko speaking out against the sacrifice of the division of recruits. As these images are being shown, we hear Aang saying, "I'm not someone who can stop the Fire Nation." And then we see him with teary eyes saying, "I don't want the responsibility." Aang understands this is a huge burden to carry. He is the Avatar, and the whole world depends on him to end the 100-year war. Again, Aang is just a goofy 12-year-old kid, and this is something very important, much more for a kid. And we see as Sokka lets Aang know that he doesn't have to do this alone, and that he has him, Katara, and a flying ball of fur, and what more does he need? As Sokka says this, Momo lands on his head, and we see Katara and Aang laughing. Next, we see some images of June, a bounty hunter who traveled around the Earth Kingdom and Fire Nation. Of all the bounty hunters in the world, she was the best and most expensive of her time, and Nyla, a Shirshu who served as the mount and constant companion of June. Following this scene, we hear the voice of Monk Gyatso echo saying, "The world needs you. Remember what it is we're really fighting for." As this happens, we see images of Aang gliding and airbending. We also get to see the Hei Bai, also known as the Black and White Spirit, a forest spirit that normally takes the form of a docile panda bear and has been protecting an Earth Kingdom forest for thousands of years. Yes, the same forest that we saw at the beginning that was all burnt, who also transforms into a large four-armed monster. Not only that, but we also get to see a shot of Kyoshi Village. In this shot, we can see Commander Zhao with his Fire Nation troops attacking Kyoshi Village. This scene is more amazing than you might think. This is because we get to see the Kyoshi warriors in action, and lets us know that even though they're non-benders, they are more than capable to handle the Fire Nation troops, and that they developed a level of combat that even puts them in an even playing field against benders. The trailer then continues with images of the city of Omashu. While we see these images, we hear Gyatso continue by saying, "The ones we love," and with these words fading away, we see images of the Blue Spirit, another iconic character from the original series. Here, the Blue Spirit is helping Aang escape from Zhao, who managed to capture him. As this happens, we get to hear Aang saying, "I'm the Avatar, and I'm gonna save the world with my friends." Just as Aang says this, we see a sequence of short clips of various fight scenes, including Aang defending the Southern Water Tribe, Sokka using his boomerang against a Fire Nation soldier, King Bumi against Aang when he puts him on trial, Katara fighting Zuko in the Northern Water Tribe, and we even get to see Jet in action. Lastly, we see how Aang's tattoos start glowing, as well as his eyes, which indicates that he is going into the Avatar state. So, with all this said, we can surely say that this trailer is just what we wanted to see from Netflix's Avatar, The Last Airbender. The producers are being as faithful to the series as they can with a lot of details, but also filling gaps to make it more appealing to newcomers. From what we saw, we could appreciate a lot of amazing visual effects, so we won't have scenes like the earth-bending one from The Last Airbender. And we can safely assume that this series will be the redemption that the original series deserved from the very beginning. Tell me, what's your opinion on this? Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.